Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football. I hope all of you are doing well, at least considering who you probably support. If you're a Chelsea fan, it feels like the end of the world. And you know what? Correctly so. Correctly so. I said prior to the game, this was a fixture that we had to win. And I was waiting for a response, much like I did mention as an example from last season on the back end, where we did manage to turn it around in games that we didn't expect to. And today we've only gone and thrown it away, and we've thrown it away in a way where big questions are now needed to be asked. Big questions. Any hope of going for the title is done. You can forget that now, because we are not allowing ourselves to get even into positions to be able to consider ourselves as a serious entity or a serious contender. We're not going to go anywhere like this. And in what context? We're making the same mistakes every single game. No matter who you have on your team, no matter what quality you think you can bring, if you are approaching the game, every game, back to back with the same mistakes, with the same cowardice, I would say, with the same issues, you're not going to get a different result, are you? And right now we are in a position where I have to say this. And I don't want to say this, but I have to say this, because it's the reality. Enzo Maresca now needs to be questioned here, because he keeps doing the one thing that's going to separate the great managers from the average or not so good managers. And that is when it gets tough and you're in a situation and you got to try and really earn your pay at that point and get the solution to what needs to be done. I believe the solution is there. He doesn't want to turn to it. He always wants to go in a direction of, let's try and play it safe. Let's try and just manage within our little constraints to just try and get a result. And I think it's sabotaging everyone. Just like the United game. I'm honestly a little bit tired now of having to always refer to the past game or the past 2 games or the past 3 games. Now it's been 4 on the bounce where we have literally committed suicide ourselves in different sets of circumstances, but we've shot ourselves in the feet every single game. The United game was reminiscent to this one because we went down to 10 men. But just like in that game where we went down to 10 men and we shot ourselves in the feet because we decided to just take all our attackers off, not go all guns blazing, not use the strengths that we have in our team, but try and reduce the weaknesses that we have in our team, and then we end up losing the game. Today, same thing again. So this tells me that Maresca is happy to do and make these decisions that are costing us. So at this point, you become a sabotage, my friend. This is the reality. The reality is, heading into the Chalobah red card, which I have to say was a red card, completely correct decision. We can go back and talk about whether there was an offside before. It has been independently checked and verified, not VAR. I'm talking actually checked again, and I've seen it. It didn't come off a Brighton player. It didn't come off Mitoma. It came off a Chelsea man. It was Santos. So there was no offside in that regard. Chalobah's in this situation. He decides to commit the foul. It's a red card. It's the last man. It's a red card. What I will say, Chalobah being in that situation, gets sent off. Correct decision. But now you need to be proactive. And you saw when we went down to 10. It wasn't the same response like we had when we went down to 10 men against Man United in terms of the players on the pitch. But again, the substitutions that are made into the game whilst we're with 10 men, it kills us. We were actually showing that we can, even with 10 men, look like we still got 11, unlike the United game. But then we bring on Gusto. Later on, we bring on Badiashile and Lavia. When we take off Esteval. Why? We thought this was a problem for the United game. And we highlighted that, and I'm sure everyone's heard just how crazy that those decisions were in terms of the fan base. Maresca and the team definitely heard about all of our responses, that's for sure. You're going and doing the same thing again. With this Brighton team, even with 10 men, we had enough in terms of literally, let's use the strength that we have to make sure that we keep this a win. Instead of cowarding out, trying to bring defenders on, to then rely on the one weakness that we have in this team, which is defending. We can't defend. Let's just call a buck here. We cannot defend to save our lives. We can't defend whether it's, especially if it's a set piece. We can't defend specifically if it's a ball in the air. We can't defend. But we want to rely on defending the result when we've got attackers here that can go and get the second goal, even if we are down to 10 men. We take off Esteval. Later on, we take off Pedro Neto. We make substitutions that are defensive. We bring on more defenders and midfielders. And it's like, why? Because then what happens? And we call this on the Shootout Watch Along. They brought on Danny Welbeck. You could see from a mile away what was going to happen. From a mile away. Danny Welbeck was going to score. And guess what? He got more than one. But what happened? Every single time, ball into the box. Yeah, free man. So you've brought on more defenders, including Josh Achiempong in the end, but we have more defenders on the pitch. We've got midfielders that are on the pitch in terms of an overload, and we still can't defend in the air. We bring on Badiashile, who's a unit, and we bring on Lavia, who's a tall guy as well. We bring on all these players. Josh is a tall guy as well. We bring on all these guys, and Brighton are still getting free headers. I could say that Maresca wants to protect his result, but when you see what we saw against Man United and you saw how detrimental that was to our result, you go and do the same thing against Brighton, I'm sorry. It means at this point you're doing it on purpose. Now you genuinely think that's a good thing to do, which makes me question you as a manager now, completely. The one thing that I always want to say in order to remain fair, I always want to say this, is I believe you need to give the chance to see how things pan out. And I don't believe it's the right thing to come to a conclusion before something has even started. But there's an expectation and there's a level. And this start of the season has been catastrophic now. And when in a game where we're asking for a response like this, which was absolutely needed, despite it still being early in the season, you can see that these problems that we have now defensively, and Maresca not willing to use the strengths that we have in our team, is going to cost us every single result going forward. Now you can see the writing's on the wall. When I say it's important to give the chance, it's important to give the chance. But now, if this keeps going, we have to be honest and we have to be fair. There's a pattern emerging, isn't there? Just like last season. Just like the season before. Is it the same thing every single year? When I believe we have more quality to use, but you get to the point like this, where we should have used it against United despite going down to 10 men, we don't use it. We had the chance to use it today and try and put Brighton on the back foot even with 10 men, and we don't use it. Why? Because we just want to feel like we want to play it safe and we just want to protect, which is bonkers because that's not our strength. If we had a good defence, that would be our strength to use. We do not have a good defence, which, to be fair, goes in hand with what many people were saying, that we should have gone into the market in the summer to go for a defender. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. But for me right now, I can see that Maresca has a solution in front of him, at least to use, so that no one can say that he didn't try everything. When you got Maresca giving digs in press conferences, for example, and then he doesn't actually use all the options that are at his disposal because he's scared of letting the result go, then I'm sorry. We can only go to one person here to blame instantly, and that's Enzo Maresca. The decision to defend is costing us. Instead of taking Esteval, let me point this out. If you're down to 10 men and you want to protect your result and you want to defend a little bit, you need to at least keep yourself an option in order to counterattack with, in order to cause trouble to the opposition. Esteval is the most naturally gifted footballer on that football pitch. Someone that if you give the ball to, and he done it twice today, actually more times in terms of how many times he got past, but twice he nutmegged the player that was coming to him and went on a run. Loads of space to run into, creates an opportunity. He is the one player that we have where if you are defending, you give the ball to him on a counter, he actually has the ability to take the ball, go past 2, 3, 4 players and actually score. He has that in him. Why take off that option? Why take off that player that has that ability for you? All you're doing at that point is literally cutting your hands off. You're cutting them off. It's completely unnecessary. You leave yourself with nothing going forward, which mentally doesn't help, because then you get put under pressure like we did. Brighton were on the front foot for the entirety of the second half, and we paid the price, because no matter how many defenders or midfielders we have on the pitch, we could not defend, especially in the air. So why don't you at least give yourself the opportunity to defend by attacking, where you actually go, you know what, attack is the best form of defense here, and keep your most dangerous players on the pitch, so then Brighton have something to worry about. Brighton at that point going, you know what, they ain't got anything that they can test us with. Cool, give us the ball, let's just start lumping it, because eventually we're going to score. And Chelsea can't respond because they've taken off all their attackers. This is what I don't understand Enzo Maresca doesn't see. How do you not see that? It's clear. Gusto, by the way, should... Look, I wrote off Jorgensen. I'm writing off Gusto. There's no point even in continuing. He's a sabotage. He's an absolute sabotage at times. Where he has an opportunity to run into space and create something, he decides to go backwards every single chance he has with the ball. Let me go backwards and allow the opposition to get back into position. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Big questions need to be asked. And I know there's going to be people now that are going to question the model, the sporting directors. And there's one point that sticks here 100%, and that's the recruitment for the defender in the summer, perhaps. 100%. Hindsight is 20/20, and hindsight is a beautiful thing. But this is why I say you have to let things play out. The worrying thing now is that when you do things let things play out, and you look at our results now, and our next game is Benfica at home, Jose Mourinho comes back. Then we got Liverpool at home. Oh boy. This could take a really dark turn. This could be the beginning of a really dark turn now. And I have to be honest. Because I said it. Give it 6 to 7 games or so. Well, we're at 6 games now. Look how it's looking. Now you begin to get an idea of where the season might be going. And I want to stay consistent with that, because it's not looking good now. Now it's not looking good. And the games coming up are going to be even harder. And we can't defend. But does Maresca want to coward his way out of things and cost the team results? Or does he actually want to be proactive and use the strengths that we actually have? How about keeping your attackers on whenever we go down to 10 men? Every time we go down to 10 men, and by the way, that's another thing. Why we do lose our heads easily. Mentally, there's a problem here, 100%. There's a problem here, without question. Going back to the point, and I want to end with this, when it comes to the model. It's very easy. Very easy. And you've heard me say it in the past as well. And this is why I want to try and be proactive and try and offer some sort of solution. It's very easy to come on here and just say, you know what, yeah, the ownership needs to go, sporting directors need to go, just end it all. But let's be honest, can you make that happen? Is it going to happen? Someone please, if it can happen, let me know, and if it happens, great. It's not going to happen. You need an entire ownership to sell up the entire football club for that to happen. Now, if someone's got the capabilities to force Egbali and Boli's hands on a piece of paper to sell, then fantastic, please get that done. That's not going to happen. So the instant thing to turn to is, what can we actually do to highlight the points that we need to highlight in order to make sure that people are aware of what needs to change within the resources that we have. That's the proactive way. We can talk about the recruitment, because sporting directors can get replaced tomorrow. That's not a problem. We can talk about some of the decisions made of the positions that we targeted, but there were specific positions that we targeted in the transfer window that are good footballers, and then we don't even use them in a situation like this where they could be the solution. That's my whole point here. We brought in attackers that are really good attackers. Then when we go down to 10 men and we have the option to go on the front foot and maybe just put the pressure on to make that our best form of defense, we don't even do that. So the problem here isn't even necessarily turning to the recruitment or anything. It's, look, we've got a solution here to not lose a game like today, to not lose a game like United. But Maresca wants to go in a different direction. That, for right now, is what's cost us. So I want to start there. That's the first port of call. And I think that's only fair. When we get to January, we can start talking about what the team needs. But right now, can anyone go into the transfer market and get something done? No. We can only go to January. But do we have a solution right now for what we needs to get a result? Yes. It's Maresca's approach that has cost us against United and against these lot tonight, Brighton at home. And it's once again Brighton, the team that we normally buy from, whose players that we've bought from have been really good for us, that have come to the bridge and taken 3 points away from us. Just like last season, where we lose to this team every single time. It's unacceptable now, like I say, big questions need to be asked. And I would love to be able to come on here and say, no, you know what, Maresca, you got nothing to answer to. I can't. For me, he's the first one to blame for the last 2 games. And that is probably going to set the tone for the season now, isn't it? Because we need a miracle defensively, and that's not going to happen. But is Maresca going to be proactive to actually try and kill off games when we've got the attacking power to do so? Are we going to have the same debates like Arsenal fans have with Arteta about how the shackles are not let loose? Are we going to have all of this with us now? Because we shouldn't. We've got the players here. What are we doing? Let me know your thoughts down below. But we are now in 8th, and this is why I say it sets the tone for the season. Liverpool dropped points today. They lost to Palace. Man United lost to Brentford. We gave points to Man United. It feels like it's more of the same. It's more of the same. What I will say, and some people will point this out, and I want to end here, is that hiring someone like Maresca in the first place is on the owners, is on the upstairs. Correct. Right now, Maresca needs to be questioned 100%. What happens after that, though? If Maresca wants to be able to utilise a squad where the solutions are actually there, I think, to be able to prevent something like today happening, then great, be my guest. But if he doesn't, he will lose his job. He will lose his job. And then what happens there? Who do we turn to? That's what I want to ask you guys in the comment section below. Thank you all so much. Let me know down below what you think overall. Unacceptable result today. And I'll catch all of you on the next one. Look after yourselves, people. In a bit. Take care and peace.